Hello, welcome back to the channel. So I've come up with some more musings that I'd like to share with you about the current transits right now, especially focusing on Venus in Gemini right now as a morning star as Uranus approaches its ingress into Gemini tomorrow or Monday on July 7th. And how this can really show us how Venus still going forward at this time is really empowering women or the feminine in our lives and that kind of principle in general. So Venus as the morning star just means that she is rising before the sun. She is in the morning right now. Typically in mythology, this is associated with her return from the underworld. She's also known as the Red Goddess at this time. She's very bright. She's not docile. Red can be associated with what our eyes are naturally drawn to or attracted to, which is what Venus rules as well. As we all know, the bull chases the red flag. It's also related with women and going through the menstrual phase as well. And of course, we cannot forget roses, which are also the color red as well. But especially as a morning star, she is definitely fighting for her territory at this time. She is speaking first, she is being bold, and she is leaving whatever doesn't serve. She is burning down illusions, and she is creating new paradigms of love and value. Some historical fun facts are in the Mayan culture in Middle America, Mayan kings would often launch military campaigns or rituals, believing in Venus's return empowered them with cosmic warfare energy. In the past, when Venus was in Gemini and rose as a morning star, we saw the global racial injustice uprisings of the George Floyd movement or Black Lives Matter. And we can just see further how the amount of words and communicating and connecting with others, how powerful that was at that time, igniting courageous dialogue and boundary redefining and voice-first activism. This is a time when the local man was making his voice heard, and that's how this kind of uprising and revolution started for racial inequality. It was also a time when people were angry at the death of about the death of George Floyd. So there's a lot of anger as a part of how Venus was expressing herself. It was also the largest civil rights uprising since the 1960s. I mean, protests were erupting everywhere under the Black Lives banner, and it was calling for police accountability and the end of systemic racism. During the previous cycles, when Venus was also in Gemini, between 1964 and 1972, we saw the civil rights movements and the anti-war protests on campuses. These were liberation movements. This was activism and free speech revolutions. So we can see how communication, or Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, is really acting as a catalyst for this kind of societal transformation, especially making trines with Aquarius and being in, Aquarius ruled Uranus, connecting with large social networks. So Venus is definitely setting herself free right now, or initiating freedom in Gemini, conjoining Uranus also in Gemini. She's enacting rebellion and unexpected enlightenment moments. She is not afraid of change, and she is charging forward. Another note is that Venus transits do tend to affect the feminine more. In my opinion, Venus represents the woman. So there is, of course, we know the LGBTQ banner is the rainbow, or multiple different kind of beautiful colors. And a funny story, as I was preparing to finish up my notes and begin this recording, there was a storm, and then there was a rainbow, and of course spirits, the consciousness, the collective God, whatever you call it, works in mysterious ways. And I just thought it's interesting how there's that kind of transformation and rebirth and cleansing that's happening. And it was the sun was out. It wasn't really dark at this time. So I took it as a sign to begin this recording. And we all know how the female menstruation is about cleansing the womb and cleansing for new growth and new birth. And of course, we know that Venus will be approaching its conjunction with Jupiter in Cancer when it moves into Cancer, right after being in Gemini with Uranus. So Venus is really working with Uranus to start a new collective cycle. This is when the feminine is leading us into a new paradigm, into breaking confining restrictions of Capricorn energy or repetitive cycles, which Uranus and Aquarius naturally represents. It's opening the door. It's breaking molds. It's artists and creatives channeling future frequencies. It's love decolonizing itself. It's feminine energy and its equality, and its intellect, multiplicity, and change. In Inanna's story, or Ishtar, which Venus the planet Venus was associated in mythological times, this was when the Babylonians or the Mesopotamians recorded her facing her shadows. She's already gone through the underworld. She's given up her illusions. She's being cleansed and stripped, and now returns in her own sovereignty, and she's unapologetic. I mean, this is the same mythology that associates Persephone, the goddess of the underworld, in that sense of power, with Venus as well. It's about really embodying our values, being able to attract them towards us confidently and with self-value. Some work or shadow work that you can be working on while Venus is as a morning star is cutting cords and letting go of old attachments or illusions around love, beauty, or self-worth. So this could be very freeing and liberating. We're starting new relationships, right? You're clear on your values and ready to initiate something new, something fresh. We could have done shadow work around heartbreak or rage, and Venus Morning Star helps us to purge shame and express our deeper truths. The devotion to, and this is all in the name of love. This is a love that protects. Devotion to warrior goddesses like Sekhmet, Lilith, Inanna, Ishtar, or Durga, especially with the blood, voice, and fire and mirror rituals, could be useful as well at this time. With Gemini also ruling words, and we haven't even begun to talk about how the fact that Saturn is approaching retrograde. I think I mentioned in my video I've created this morning, which you can check on my astrology transits playlist, about Saturn in retrograde in Aries, and that full moon in Capricorn approaching us, and how that's still going backwards. So again, we see this kind of masculine force being kind of revised, and yet the feminine force is charging ahead. So there's definitely a time for creative catharsis. Raw emotional kind of art could be created at this time. Expressive art, poetry, dance, confrontation, love as confrontation, speaking uncomfortable truths so that we don't just let negativities continue to multiply, because Venus grows. It can either grow something cancerous, it can grow something beautiful. And that's why Lakshmi, who is also associated with Venus, has her duality of a Lakshmi, who must cut or sever things that are not healthy so that we can have new growth in a healthy way. So Venus as a morning star is a warrior. She's an initiator, a disruptor. She brings raw truth. She brings rebirth, and she brings desire to create motion. And especially with Gemini, I don't know if you've ever met Gemini people, but they're always in motion. They're either always thinking about something, talking about something, reading about something, acquiring information, or moving in a vehicle of some sort, or socializing. Just to show a bit of the kind of flip side of Venus, when she appears as an evening star, more so goddesses that you would work with would be Aphrodite or Hathor or Oshun or Lakshmi. But right now she's a morning star, so it's all about Sekhmet or Lilith or Durga or Nana. This is also a great time to do shadow work or even breakups and things that aren't honoring us and new beginnings. This is about being passionate and direct about our challenges and facing them head on. And challenges are just opportunities, as we know. If she was in her evening phase, that would have been a better time for like reconnections, healing, gentle embodiment, letting go, shedding. You know, this is a time of new beginnings. So Venus right now is definitely leading the feminine, the women in our lives are definitely leading the way at this time. So pay attention to the women around you and their lives. She's breaking free. She's reclaiming power. It's warrior goddess energy. She's the bringer of the dawn, aka the Eye of Ra, aka Sekhmet. Love, beauty, and desire are not passive forces. They're expressions of a soul truth. Venus isn't just about romance and softness. She's about magnetism, confidence, self-worth, and creative power. And it was only until Venus emerged from being a child, going to the underworld, and coming out of it that she was a woman. Boldness mirrors to us and to others and the universe that I know what I'm worth. So this is a fantastic time to be bold in expressing your values. If you doubt yourself or shrink yourself or suppress your desires, Venus cannot flow through you. Boldness is the magnet. And it's not specifically about effort, but it could also be about resonance. And what are we resonating with, and reconsidering that in our relationships and our concepts of relationships, as Venus is in Gemini. She's kind of embodying a quicksilver kind of mentality with Mercury ruled Gemini. And she's even being supercharged by Uranus, soon to be in Gemini. So that's like extreme revolutions in a sudden moment, an earthquake moment, a lightning strike of eureka, of understanding. Uranus rules electricity, so it's electric, it's liberating, it's deeply empowering, it's divinely guided, especially for those who are LGBTQ, artistic, or visionary. This is a time when we're leaning into curiosity and acquiring more information and knowledge so that we can change our frameworks. It's a time when we could be mentally stimulated. We're playing with different concepts. We're getting variety. We're having conversation. We could be listening to things. We're allowing these ideas to flow. This is when Venus is moving beyond the past. She's already process things. She's already let go of old patterns. She's choosing new paths. She's reevaluated. Now she's speaking her truth. She's choosing joy, not duty. And Venus also rules in Taurus the relationship to ourselves. So this could be a time when we're having the liberation or empowerment of ourselves and radical shifts in that area. A great affirmation to use is, I set myself free from old patterns. I allow love to be wild, real, and intelligent. My words are spells. My freedom is sacred. Sorry. So not only that, Venus is also sextiling Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries. So this is a great time for divine support, strength, boundaries, maturity, structure, discipline. Conjunctions in general, even if they're not exact, are extremely powerful in astrology. It can even be uncontrolled, but that's there's so much energy. It just needs to be channeled. So first, we're going to have the women in our lives being supercharged by Uranus, by seeing the future, which is what Uranus rules as well. And then they're going to have the support of Jupiter, or divinity itself, when it conjoins Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter represents learning, expansion, protection, and luck, optimism. It's very much an anticipatory energy. It's pulling us towards this huge new cycle of Uranus and Gemini, trining Pluto and Aquarius. And then on top of this, we have Mars in Virgo, which is the archetype of the purified woman or the virgin, someone who's quite critical, conjoining the South Node in Virgo as well. So we're seeing beyond illusions of Rahu, and that's impacting Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which represents the men in our lives, or the masculine principle. So we are literally stripping illusions on things to do with masculinity right now. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick little analysis of the transits. I figured I would just release my thoughts before they kind of expire. Please hit like. I really appreciate it. If you want to leave a tip, you can use the Buy Me a Coffee link. Thanks for being here. Hit subscribe. Take care.